Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Today we're going to talk about this whole topic. Aren't you tired of dropping the ball? And this is an adult conversation, so anyway, age appropriate for you. But what I want to do is I want to talk to the adults that's ready to have a real conversation. First and foremost, you all know that I'm Abdul-Lateef from Abdul-Lateef.com, as well as, I'm the owner of Arabic Virtual Academy. The majority of you are part of the community anyway, so you don't need an introduction, and I'm not going to go through all of this, that, and the other. But for those of you who are new, because I am new to doing lives on YouTube, this is the first live I'm doing on YouTube. So, I welcome you all. Make sure to subscribe to the channel, make sure to hit the likes, and make sure to turn on your notifications. But for those of you who are familiar with my conversations, we're going to jump right in. I was speaking with a brother earlier today, and we were talking about, the issue of, people not following our lead, people not listening to us and trusting our decision-making processes and things along these sorts. So what ended up happening was, we were talking about, frustration that a lot of brothers are going through. A lot of brothers, when it comes to, their kids, when it comes to their wives, when it comes to other brothers in the community. They try to do their best, or what they consider to be their best, in pushing people in the right direction. The problem is, and this is probably something 9 out of 10 of you have experienced, so pay attention. I'm going to show you how to jump over this hurdle. In this video, this is all we're going to discuss. All right, it's not going to be a long video. For those of you who deal with my TikTok lives and all of the rest of that, I don't stay on for a long period of time. I'm not going to be on here for hours. But I do need to have a discussion that is pertinent to each and every one of you. Now, the whole of the issue is this. And inshallah, I'll be interacting with those of you who are in the chat. So inshallah, if you have anything to say, you can leave it in there, inshallah. But the issue of people not following your lead. The majority of the time, the reason is because the majority of us, we don't know what leadership is. And I know that sounds a little strange, but bear with me, because by the end of this conversation, you're going to be saying the same thing that I'm saying. You have to understand that in our language, things are called things for a reason. So definitions are very important. This is one of the things that I've learned in my studies, through the bachelor's levels, through the master's levels, through the doctorate level. I've learned the importance of language and understanding definitions for things. And the reason why I'm bringing this up is because the majority of us, if I stopped and asked each of you right now to write in the chat, what do you understand leadership to be, or a good leader to be? Or a leader, not a good leader. What do you understand a leader to be? It's going to take you some time to think about it. Some of you might want to run to Google real quick and type it up and, copy and paste it. But this, because of who we are in our communities and in our households and in our relationships, we should already understand what this is, because we are supposed to be this. This isn't something that should be second nature. It's like asking you what a human being is. You can tell me what a human being is. But when it comes to when we talk about basic things, because unfortunately, and I apologize to you all about this, we're not discussing these things with you. Things dealing with, leadership. When we talk about what is parenting, when we talk about what is marriage, when we talk about actually getting into what these things are, so that we can actually begin to have a discussion, we're not doing it. In the masajid, in the Islamic centers, we're not talking to you about these things. We're not starting these types of discussions. And this is what we're going to do here. This is what I've been doing with you all on the other lives, and I'm going to try and make YouTube home. because I like it better for long form content. You know, hopefully, inshallah, we'll be able to get the community going here like we did on some of the other platforms, and move everything here, bidnillah. But the issue of leadership, you as a Muslim, you should be a leader. You should be moving your society forward. You should be showing people who they're supposed to be, what they're supposed to be. You should be laying that moral compass. And you're not going to be able to do this until you understand what a leader is. And unfortunately, from my discussion with a lot of you, through the different coaching calls and things along these sorts, many of you, especially the brothers, feel as though leadership is about, listen, I'm me, so you listen to me. You do what I say. You don't second guess me. But let me ask you a question. What good leader do you know in history that this was their methodology? As a matter of fact, when you talk about leaders, you understand that most of the people that were considered to be good leaders went through some type of leadership program. So they learned how to be leaders. It wasn't something that they just did haphazardly. Well, I'm going to stand up and, look, I'm going to jump up on the soapbox and I'm going to grab a following. There's a methodology to it that you need to learn so that you can be successful in your leadership. People, when they see you deserving of being a leader and being followed in the direction that you're trying to take the crowd in, they will follow your lead naturally. It's not anything you have to force them into doing if you're doing it right. There's a lot of steps and stages to this, and you all know that I've been going through this stuff with you all for years. But you need to be able to understand that you have to connect with individuals. It's not just about saying, listen, get behind me, and when I move, you move. Just like that. Yeah, I'm showing my age here. But this is not the way to go about being a leader. This is not the way to go about leading your families, nor is it a way to go about leading your communities. Understand when you find individuals that are supposed to be under your leadership. They're supposed to be under your leadership. You need to find a way to connect with them so that they fall under your leadership. Does that make sense? I'm going to say it again for you. All right? For those that are supposed to be under your leadership, you need to find a way to bring them under your leadership. You need to find a way to connect with them. And you're going to find, if you have a family, listen, many of us, we have families. Me personally, I have a large family. I have a family of 8, right? Everybody's different. Everybody's different. And I know everybody says this and it sounds a little cliche, but pay attention. Because if you have families, you know what I'm saying is true. Everybody's different. All your children are different one from another. Your wife is different from your children. And if you have more than one wife, your wives are different from one another. So the thing about being a good leader is you need to be able to connect with each of those individuals on their levels. It's not about bringing them all to understanding, listen, we just have to follow this because it's the man of the house. Being a leader it's a role, it's a position that you need to learn how to fulfill. And if you've never actually really learned it and you've done what you've done over the years to try to figure it out, that's not going to aid you. It's like if let's say you had a business. I'm going to go a little bit off topic, but I'm not going far right now. You all know sometimes I go on tangents, but I'm not going to do that with y'all today. All right? I'm going to stay on point, inshallah. But let's say you have a family. You have a business. Right now, you're looking for a CEO of the company. Tayyip, you're trying to find a CEO. Or let's say somebody else has a company and they're going to hire you as a CEO. They want you to be their CEO of their company. The first thing that you need to understand is that your job title, your position is a CEO. If you've never had a job like that before, you may have seen it. You may have seen it on TV. Apologize about that. You may have seen it on TV. You may have watched some of those shows where they were showing different CEOs and their jobs and this, that, but you never learned how to be a CEO. You really never even, no one's ever really explained to you what a CEO is. You may know what those letters mean, but no one's really actually sat down and explained to you what it is. How successful do you think you're going to be at that job? Now let's put our feelings aside, because I know when I have these types of discussions with brothers, a lot of times they get in their feelings. And this is why it's better that I'm having it like this with you, because you can always go back and rewatch the video. All right? For those of you who are overly emotional. All right? So go ahead and watch it the first time and, who does this guy think he is and this, that, and other. But then go, after you calm down a little bit, go back and watch it again. But if you've never held this position, if you weren't trained to be a CEO, no one's ever sat you down and explained to you what exactly a CEO does. Some of you may not even know what CEO stands for, but they gave you this job. Your first responsibility would be to find out what exactly a CEO is. What is it? It's a position. What does a CEO do? And how do you fulfill that responsibility? What is it that they're expecting from you? No, keep track. You need to learn what it is. How does the job fulfill? How do you fulfill that job? And what is it they're expecting from you? All right. Now, when we talk about anything else, because this applies all the way around the board, because regardless of how you look at it, and I know we weren't taught this way, but think for a minute. Regardless of what you're doing in life, that's your stage, that's your position. You being a husband is a position. And this is why I told you that it frustrates me that these types of things aren't discussed with you from the men bar. Because this is real life. And the fact that these things have not been discussed is why you see our communities and our households the way they are. You being a husband, it's a position in life. You need to understand exactly what a husband is Islamically. You need to understand what you need to do to fulfill that position. And you need to know what exactly it is that's expected from you, from Allah and from your wife. If your first job when you get married isn't understanding that, how successful do you really think you're going to be when it comes to being a husband? It's going to be almost impossible. You're going to be all over the place doing all types of things that may not even be. You might even run yourself into the grave and not even be establishing that which you're supposed to be establishing because you never took the time out to understand the position. The same thing when it comes to being a father. You may have seen it. You may have seen your father in the way that your father was with you, or your friend's father was with them. You may have seen Bill Cosby on the internet or on the TV when you were younger. So you saw this is what a father was. But no one's ever sat down and explained to you the reality of what a father is, how that position is fulfilled, and what exactly is expected from you, from the higher source and from the children as well. That's just as important. If it goes against, before any of you come and tell me, okay, and I can already see the comments in the comment section, and I welcome them. But all right, now you're saying what the people say are just as important as what a law says. I don't mean that. And it's being recorded. I'm telling you now, I don't mean that. What I mean when I say it's just as important, in order for you to fulfill what you need to fulfill, you need to look at your children as well and say, okay, what is it that you all need from me? Because that's important. If it goes against what a law says and what a law wants, then obviously we don't pay attention to it. But there's a lot of things that they may request from us that don't actually go against this, that we should fulfill so that we can do our job correctly. All right? So it's about understanding our position in life, whether we talk about a job, whether we talk about in the masjid, whether we talk about at the Islamic Center, whether we talk about in our households. We have positions that we need to fulfill. This situation of being a leader or the head of your household is a position. And if you cannot tell me that you have actually learned what this is, then don't sit and tell me you've done the best job you can. Because if you don't know what it is, you can't possibly have done the best you can. The way you do the best you can is figuring it out and working from there, building around that. Now, is it your fault that if you didn't do the best you can? Listen, I'm with y'all. I bumped my head and made a lot of mistakes. I've been married for almost 30 years. I bumped my head and made a lot of mistakes because I didn't know what I know now. So what I'm trying to do is I'm trying to share it with all of you before y'all bump y'all heads even more than you may have. Or those of you who are trying to get into the situation, that y'all don't have to bump your heads. This is why it's important for you all to pay attention to this. This conversation is important. You know, I always talk to y'all about the fact that it's important for us to have certain types of conversations so that we get the conversation started amongst ourselves and the way we think changes. And then as we understand it, then we start talking in our circles about these things so that they can start changing the way that they think, so we can improve our societies, so we can improve our ummah. And once we improve the ummah, we're able to improve the whole of the world. Everybody else is going to follow because what we're doing makes sense. All right? So, and I hope this is making sense to everybody up until now. So, what I do want you to understand is when we talk about being this leader, we talk about being the head of the household, when we talk about having people follow what it is we have to say, we need to understand, again, count it with me, what it is, what the position is, how you fulfill that goal, and what's expected from you. All right? Once you understand this, that's where the real work starts. Because, again, it's not about, all right, I'm telling you something because I'm your husband. You just follow behind me, regardless of what you think. Or because I'm your father, you just follow behind me, regardless of what you think. If you had a leader that worked with you like that, you would want to revolt. And you would be right to want to revolt, not to revolt, because we're not going there. But you would be right to want to say, wait a minute, listen, I don't have no say-so in nothing. What I feel and what my concerns don't mean anything. After a while, you'd want to buck the system. But this is because of the fact that you know that it's not reality. It's what you've seen on TV. It's what people have told you, maybe since you've been Muslim. People have told you that this is just the way, because you're this, you get that. And like I told the brother earlier today, That's a framework. That's a framework. Just like another example. When you talk about spouses, and I'm going to get back to what I'm talking about leadership in a minute. I'm just trying to make sure we're all on the same page here. When we talk about spouses, we know in Islam there are certain things that are the rights of the husband. That's just his right. And she's wrong for not giving it to him. She's got to give him his rights. And in Islam, she's got rights. And he's wrong for not giving it to her. This is the framework. Right? But once you understand and once you put into the fact that, listen, we're human beings. We don't always work on the framework. I can't expect to say, okay, well, listen, I'm your boss at work. You have rights and I have rights. But I just walk up and every time I don't like what you did, I smack you. Or I talk down to you. Or I do, and am I right to expect that you're going to respect me the way that you're supposed to respect me? Now the framework says that it's, listen, regardless, I'm supposed to get this and you're supposed to get this. Even if I don't give you this, I'm supposed to get this. Why? Because the framework says that regardless, this is the way it's supposed to be. But when we put the human factor in there, we have to understand that, listen, things don't always work on that framework. Sometimes we need to work to make people want to work on that framework. Does that make sense? As your boss, I can't constantly take all the credit for everything. I need to spread credit. Listen, we did this as a team. This is our success. When I go out and I talk to the press and let them know, listen, the company's doing this because of me, because I did it. Or do I go out and say, listen, this is my team. We did this. Without them, I couldn't have did my job. This is how I gain the respect of those people who work for me. Do you understand? When we talk about understand, this is what I mean when in our coaching calls, when I talk about frameworks, you all know, the ones that are from my coaching calls, you all know, this is what I mean when I say a framework. The way it's supposed to be, not the way it always is going to work out. But your job as a leader, getting back to the leadership part of it, all right? Your job as a leader is to find a way to make people want to stay on that framework. It's not about, okay, well, listen, I said this, so everybody does this. I know y'all have brains. I know y'all have opinions. But listen, just do what I tell you to do. Your job as a leader is to do what? You need to understand that, listen, those are individuals with thoughts and minds and opinions and emotions. So instead of me just telling you, just leave off everything you see and think and feel, I'm going to sit down and explain to you, listen, this is why I want to do it this way. So you still might not agree with me, but at least you understand, listen, and because you trust me, which means I have to work to gain your trust. Because you trust me, and because of the fact that you, now even though we may not see eye to eye on this, you understand the wisdom behind what I'm saying. Even if you say, okay, I believe we could do it this way as well. Once I have that trust from you, once I've sat down and explained to you why I see it this way, where I see the harms and the benefits lay, you might like my way better. Once we talk about, I might like your way better. But at the end of the day, we understand that, listen, it's got to go one way. So this is why this issue of leadership isn't necessarily a dictatorship. It's not just do what I say. Listen, I need to explain to you where I'm going. You look at all the good leaders of the world. This is the way they did it. They explained to the people, listen, this is why we're doing this. And you found that people was ride or die with these people because they trusted them and they understood the vision. Sometimes this is what it takes. This conversation, I'm going a little longer than I was planning on it, but inshallah, hopefully you'll find this beneficial. But, what was I saying? When you have this conversation with individuals, it's not also, you have to understand, it's not just about you getting your point across. And this is one of the things that's hard for a lot of people to understand. It's not hard for them to understand. It's very easy for them to understand. But it's a hard pill to swallow. Because of all of these phrases that people throw around in these days and times. When we say things like, this is my truth and that's your truth, and everybody says the same thing. Well, there is no two truths. There's the truth and there's your opinion. Okay, yeah, you're right. You're right. In a lot of situations, it's a truth. Listen, somebody's right and somebody's wrong. Not always, but in a lot of situations, you're going to find somebody's right and somebody's wrong. I saw it this way, or I felt this way. I felt that you were doing this, and I say, okay, listen, I did. It's not what my intentions was. Then the way you feel is wrong. Do you understand how that works? I know some of you aren't going to like it, but it's true. If I tell you that you offended me by what you said or what you did, because I feel as though it's disrespectful, and you tell me that, listen, I apologize. I wasn't trying to offend you. I wasn't trying to be disrespectful. That wasn't even on my mind. At that point in time, I have to say, okay, well, listen, I interpreted it wrong. I don't just say, well, this is my truth. But now that we've come to this understanding, at the same point in time, you can't expect me not to feel the way that I feel. Now, I have to admit, okay, yes, I'm not right. But you need to be able to sit down and hear what I have to say. You have to be able to see it from my perspective, to the point where you say, okay, well, listen, yeah, if you saw it that way, I can see why you were upset. I can see why you crashed out. I understand it from your point of view. But I just need you to know that this wasn't my intention when I did it. So now I feel heard. I feel like, okay, well, listen, now at least you understand. I don't feel like I was dead wrong, even though my interpretation was wrong. But I know that had you interpreted it that way, you would have did the same. You would have felt the same way. You might not have crashed out like I did, but you would have felt bad about the situation. So now we're connecting. So now when you're explaining, I'm be like, oh, you know what? Listen, my bad. Look, I took it the wrong way. I assumed that this is what you meant when you said this, and I just kind of took it the wrong way. I ran with it. I misinterpreted it. So I apologize as well. We're connecting. We're building. I feel heard, and at least my opinion to be understood. So when you come to me and you talk to me about something later on, I'm more open to listening to what you have to say, because I know you're going to listen to me. This is what I mean when I say we have to connect. And I'm not doing a master class on all of this. I'm just giving you some things to think about. Because this is why us not understanding this type of thing is why our families are falling apart left and right. Without these types of conversations. For me to just come and say, okay, well, listen, I don't care how you feel. This is what you're going to do. And then I get mad because they don't do it. What's more befitting for me to do? What would make more sense? See, we got to understand we can't run through life shooting ourselves in the foot. And doing what I just said to you is shooting myself in the foot. What would make sense for me to sit you down and explain to you and tell you, okay, well, listen, we're going to do this, or we're going to move in this direction because all of the harm that's over there. We're not going to go to the right because to the right there's this and there's wild dogs over there. There's this and this, that, and the other. So we're going to go to the left. And you say, well, yeah, but going to the right is a faster path. Okay, now I understand you want the faster path, but I'm telling you, all that danger is over there. Listen, I can protect you, but you have to let me protect you. You have to let me do it the way I can do it. I can't beat all of those wild dogs if they come and attack us. So let's just take the longer route, because we know at least there we're pretty much sure to be safe. Yes, it's shorter and this, that, and the other. Well, you know what? Maybe we could chip in and we mess around and get an Uber so we don't got to walk. Then we can take the shorter route if you want. See, we got to use a little bit of wisdom, hikmah. All right? Without taking all of your time, the point that I'm trying to make here is that we have to understand what a good leader is. How do you lead? And is it the way that most of us look at it, like, because I'm me, you just have to listen to me? You have to leave off everything that you think, everything that you feel, everything, all of it. Just leave it to the side and just move in my direction. Like we said, when I move, you move. Tired. So, that doesn't make sense. And again, if someone did that to you, you'd have an attitude about it. How do you think that your family feels when you do things like that? So make sure that you start to have these types of discussions. But again, it all turns into you first finding out what is a leader. Because you're a leader regardless of whether you like it or not. Are you a good leader or a bad leader? That's what you need to figure out. Even those of you that think that you're not leaders. The women in the household, your children look up to you. They look to you to figure out what's this and what's this. How do we do this? How do we navigate this? Either you're going to lead them in the right direction or you're going to lead them in the wrong direction. So I can imagine now, y'all sisters that are watching this, don't sit there and be like, and show it to your husband. I mean, yeah, share it with your husband. But you're a leader too. Are you doing what we just said that needs to be done by the leaders? Are you using wisdom and moving people in the right direction? There's nothing wrong with you being able to help to move your husband in a direction. There's nothing wrong with that. Because as we said a minute ago, y'all should talk and come up with what's best, and listen, and go with the flow. If it doesn't hurt. Now, if it doesn't hurt you, your husband comes to you and says, listen, I want to do this. And you say, I want to do this. And he says, but look, I really want to do this. I want to do this with the family. But I want to do this. If it's not going to hurt you, do it this way. If you don't see it being any harm in it, do it this. It'll make things easier. Yes, he should compromise with you sometimes. But at the end of the day, this friction that most of husbands and wives have nowadays is because she wants it her way, he wants it his way. And then when no one wants to bend, no one wants to, we say the other one just doesn't never want to compromise. No. This is why understanding your role as a husband and understanding your role as a wife is important. Understanding the role, understanding how the job is filled, and understanding what's expected from you. Because, you know, that old phrase that they've been saying for years now, anything with two heads is a monster. There's got to be a head of the household. When these two people disagree, it's got to go in one direction. As long as it's not harmful, listen, let it go. The president and the vice president, they disagree. Could you imagine what would happen if there wasn't some type of framework that was set up there? Going back to the framework. To say, okay, well, listen, when the president and the vice president disagree, this is the way it goes. If everybody was just, okay, now this one wants this one, now this one's got half the government moving in this direction, this one's got half the government moving, what's going to happen? And I know you're thinking that this is foolish, but is this not what goes on in your households? Because people will not just admit to doing what it is that they're supposed to be doing. A lot of it is you're right, because we don't know. It's our faults for not explaining these things to you before. But now that you know this, now that you've been here and you understand what it is that I'm talking to you about. And I know I dropped a lot on you today, on all of you, right? But it's important that we have this discussion. No, I didn't go into details about everything. But for those of you who are in on my coaching calls, you understand what I'm talking about. You understand the bigger frameworks. But for all of you who, again, are new to what it is that I do in the discussions that I have, you have to agree that we have to start over. We have to stop allowing these people that have our ears to pulling us in the wrong direction. We have to start standing up and telling them, listen, we need to know these things. Our families, one by one, are falling apart. There's something that we don't know. You're there. You're supposed to be leading us. You're supposed to be telling us. You're supposed to be finding the answers for us. Don't tell us on why we shouldn't like each other, why we shouldn't want to pray next to one another, why we shouldn't love one another, even though the law commands us to hold on to the rope of the law altogether and not be divided. We don't need you to tell us these things. We need you to tell us how to live. You know, we need to tell you to figure out ways for us to be able to survive. Y'all are leading. Not to jump on to different discussions, but y'all need to tell them, listen, y'all need to help us find a solution to what's going on in our households. If we're going to let you lead us, then you need to lead us. You're responsible for finding the solution. The same way the president is responsible for finding solutions to what's going on in the country, y'all are responsible for finding solutions to what's going on in the community. We got issues with marriages. We got issues with jobs. We got issues with education. Y'all got to do your jobs. Now, also, if they don't do their jobs, you're responsible for getting it done. If they don't do their job, you're responsible either for going somewhere else where they're going to do their job, or you're responsible for getting it done. You can't say because the person is responsible for feeding you isn't feeding you, just going to sit back and starve. They're responsible for feeding you. But if they don't do their job, You can't just sit back and let yourself die. You have to get up and do what you got to do. So if they're not willing to help you to solve the problems that you need so that you can live on a daily basis, education, jobs, housing, your family unit, if they're not going to help you, you have to find a way to get this help. You can reach out to other individuals that can help you get things in order. You can reach out to other communities. You can join other communities. But again, as a leader of your household, if your leaders aren't doing their job, then you have to find a way to do your job for those people that you're leading. It's a lot of responsibility. For all of you that run around saying, well, listen, I'm the man. You got to listen to me, I'm the man. You got to do what I tell you because I'm the man. To a degree, you're right. But you also have to understand there's a lot of responsibility that comes with that. And like we said, the framework says it goes this way. And if you say, okay, well, they're not holding up to their end of the bargain, you have to look at, are you holding up to your end of the bargain? And that's not just for the men, for the women too. The women are also leaders. You have many women that lead different things within the community. Help that run the communal affairs. They take on teaching the new Muslims and teaching Muslims in the community. They're leaders of groups of people. Groups of people look to them to find out what it is they're supposed to be, what it is they're supposed to be doing, and who it is they're supposed to be. So if those people that she's looking to aren't doing their job, she can't just sit back and let those people that are behind her suffer. So it's a man and woman thing. Right? It's not something where we could just say, okay, if you're a man, then everything Abdul-Lateef just said to us applies to you. Y'all falling short. We can't say to y'all, listen, my children are off the hook. You're supposed to be showing them what they're supposed to be. You're supposed to be putting their morals and manners in them. There's no reason they should be disrespectful to adults. You're not doing what you're doing. You're not handling your business. This is a man and woman issue that needs to be fixed. You know, I'm here to help you. If I can help to push you in the right direction, let me know. You know, you get the comment section, you got the website and all the rest of that stuff. For those of you who aren't part of the normal community, you know, we have a Discord server. You want to get down with any of it, let me know. Inshallah, I'll get you the information. As a matter of fact, it's in the description to the video, as a matter of fact, now that I think about it. All of that, the Patreon, everything else. But what you need to be doing is trying to figure this stuff out. I've shown you that there's major gaps. And because of these major gaps, we're running into major problems. As individuals, we're falling apart. Forget the families. As individuals, we're falling apart. And as individuals are falling apart, you know our families are falling apart. I mean, heck, look. I told somebody I was married for almost 30 years, and the jaw dropped. How? Wow, yo, listen, how did... It doesn't make sense that this is something rare. It doesn't make sense. You have to. You absolutely have to. Fix yourself so you can fix your families. And through that, we'll fix our communities. All these problems that we all talking about, all this in this community and this in this community. Listen, you can say what you want about that community down the street. But in all actuality, 9 times out of 10, the community you're in isn't any better. Why? Because we're suffering from the same problems. It might be more, what's it say? Not the word, is not visual, but it might be more apparent over there. It may be more hidden over here, but we're all suffering from the same problems. So we really have to work to get ourselves together, especially as adults. Stop thinking you have it figured out. Like I had told one of the sisters in one of the coaching calls, listen, you know, you've been doing this for all of these years. Because this thing came up, well, why do we need life coaches and this, that, and the other, and da, 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 da. I'm just trying to figure out. All right, well, listen, you've been trying to figure it out for years. And you still haven't gotten it figured out. You've looked around, you've seen what this one had to say and seen what this one had to say and trying to put your own approach on it, put your own spin on it. And all these years you've been trying, and you just keep failing over and over and over and over and over and over and over. Or, like the title, you just keep dropping the ball. When are you going to go and find somebody that could teach you to dribble the ball correctly? Somebody that can show you how to shoot. When are you going to go find somebody that could do this for you? Why are you going to keep failing over and over and over and say, okay, eventually I'll get it? Why would you want to keep failing? If you don't want to be successful for yourself, be successful for those people that are watching you that want to be like you, even though you may not even realize it. You have to be successful so that they can see how that they should be successful. You can't just keep dropping the ball. It's not just about you. Right? And I know I took a lot of y'all time today. I apologize. I actually like this system a lot better than what I was doing on TikTok and some of the other programs. So I might, like I said, make this home and start doing my lives here a little more. Actually, a lot more, inshallah. We'll see how it goes. You know, in the beginning of trying to put together a community on any platform, things usually go pretty slow. So make sure that you don't forget to like this particular live. Make sure that you don't forget to subscribe to the channel and turn on your notifications, because that's the only way that you're going to know when I'm on live. All right. So that way you don't have to miss it and have to rewatch the plays and all of the rest of that stuff, as well as like I do on the other channels. What I'm going to do, I'm going to have a specific days and specific times that I'm on doing my lives so that you can get on and we can interact with one another. And for those of you who also are into what we're doing right here, I want to let you know that, you know, reach out to me. Because right now I'm in this stage, you know, I'm not new to YouTube, but I am new to, I'm getting a little tired now. It's what, 12 o'clock in the afternoon, and I haven't been to sleep yet. But reach out to me, because what I'm trying to do now is I'm trying to get everything set up and get everything organized so I know which days and which times I'm going to be on. So make sure you reach out to me so we can discuss, whether it be through the chat on here or we can do it through the Discord. We'll discuss when I'm going to be on and what topics and what days I'm going to be talking about, what I'm going to be talking about, so that you can know what you want to be there for and what you don't. Also, so we can find out what times are best for everybody. All right? Like I said, I'm going to try and make this home, so bi'idhnillah, may Allah Ta'ala make us successful in getting all this done. Hopefully y'all found some benefit in the discussion. Make sure you listen to it again. Do not forget to share it with all your friends and families, because there's no way in the world that y'all can tell me that y'all didn't get a lot of benefit out of what we talked about today. So make sure you share it with everybody. Help to get this discussion started in our communities, because if there's enough of y'all in the community that are having these discussions, when y'all go and y'all talk to the leaders of y'all communities, there's going to be from amongst y'all enough, or there are going to be enough people from amongst y'all that y'all can bring about that change that's needed. The leaders are going to go in the direction they see the people want them to go in. You all just have to set the pace. If you sit around and wait for people to set the pace, listen, I've been there. We can't give you what you need unless you tell us what you need. Other than that, I'm only giving you what I think you need. And apparently, what people think you need isn't what you need. So you need to get up off of your tails, make the effort that needs to be made so that you can get the benefit that you need to get, so that you can benefit all of those people behind you. All right? Jazakumullahu khair wa barakallahu fikum. Again, don't forget to like, share, comment, and make sure you let me know what y'all think about what I'm talking about. Don't just watch the video and do like so many people do. They just watch, or they hit me up on the side and say something. Leave it in the comments. Well, let's get the discussion started. That's the least you can do. Tired? Well, that and like the video. But make sure that you keep up with what we're doing, inshallah. And we'll do a lot more of this, bi'idhnillahi ta'ala, real soon. Jazakumullahu khair wa barakallahu fikum. سبحانك اللهم وبحمدك وأشهد أن لا إله إلا أنت وأستغفرك وأتوب إليك والسلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته.